Namaste. We will begin the Mangalacharan. Yastyakva rupamadhyam prabhavati jagato anekadhanugrahaya prakshina klesharashira vishama vishadaro anekavaktra subhogi sarvajnana prasutir bhujaga parikara प्रीतये यस्य नित्यं देवो हि सहसो भव्यात् सितविमलतनुर्योगदो योगयुक्तः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Gently bow your head down, bring yourself to the class, prepare yourself for the session. When you're ready, gently lift your head up, open your eyes, extend. Namaskaram. Hari. Yesterday, we started studying the second pada, sadhana pada. Now, when we discussed about sadhana pada, we discussed about two kinds of seekers who are having the eligibility to go forward on this path. The ones who are good at the physical level and mental level, and the second, who have certain kind of challenge at the physical level, but at the mental level, they have deep dispassion. So both these category of seekers are included, which means it hints us that yoga can be practiced at any age. Physical disability means what? After the age of 55, 60, 70, a person may not be able to physically have the strength to practice asanas or all the other limbs, but a person can definitely go for the practice of dispassion, vairagya, and still embody the teachings of yoga. So the correct understanding of the sutra would also be that yoga is possible at any age. At any age, one can begin learning this practice. So we talked about sattvicizing every action. Sattvicizing is making things more sattvic. For Kriya Yoga, you actually need to have the reverence and surrender towards God. So we saw in the previous chapter, only meditating on the mantra Om and listening from the scriptures is sufficient for a seeker to experience the mantra Om or to experience the Ishvara. But when it comes to Kriya Yoga, it's not only at the level of mind, one has to actually perform each action as an offering. Such a person, in chapter 2 that we are discussing, only Shravana is not going to help. Only listening to the self, only listening to the truth, only listening to the instrument of God realization is not going to help. There is a lot of Kriya action required in order to realize this very practice. So, we will just make a note here. All the actions done for stability of the chitta, all the actions done for the stability of the chitta and all the actions which are smaller level instruments in the practice of yoga fall under Kriya Yoga. All actions done for the stability of the chitta and the lesser or lower level practices as a beginner or as an entrant in the practice of yoga, all of them will fall under the ambit of Kriya Yoga. Let's see the sutra for this. Sutra number 2. Sahi Kriya Yoga. What is this Kriya Yoga? Now Sutra 2 onwards, we will have more light onto it. Samadhi Bhavanarthaha.
Samadhi Bhavanarthaha.
Kleshat Anukaranarthascha.
क्लेशत अनुकरणार्थश्च
समाधि भावनार्थः क्लेशत अनुकरणार्थश्च
समाधि
भावना अर्थः क्लेशत अनुकरणार्थश्च.
Now, then what is this Kriya Yoga? Let's see the Bhashyam. ह्यास्य व्यमानः समाधिं भवयति क्लेशांच प्रतनु करोति. What does Kriya Yoga do? The kleshas, it refines the kleshas and minimizes them. Yes. Prat anukulan क्लेशान प्रसंख्यानाग इग्नः दग्धि बीज कल्पना प्रसर्वधर्मण इनः करिष्यति तेषां तनुकरणात्युत्पन्नः क्लेशार परमारुष्ट सत्व पुरुष अन्यथा ख्यातिः सूक्ष्म प्रज्ञा समाधि अकार प्रतिप्रवस्वाः कल्पयिष्यति इति. The sutra says that Kriya Yoga removes the purities of the chitta which are otherwise because of the kleshas. Now next sutra will also tell us what are the kleshas. So we often take sutra number 2 and 3 together. It says Kriya Yoga is directly working on the kleshas. Now when we talk about klesha in Sanskritam, it comes from the root word klesha. Klesha, which would give trouble, which would torment or trouble. Every day in life we see we want to achieve something, but the moment we achieve that, the mind again wants to achieve something else. The next is always again and again ready. Why does it happen? Because of the kleshas. One work you do, again the mind wants to move on to the next task. And same expectation. Even if the previous works have been completed, if there is a challenge with the next one, there is going to be a challenge with you. So what is it that is making the mind again and again go after one object or the other with the same intensity? Why is there not a stoppage? The moment I achieve something at the level of thought, desire, immediately there is a next higher desire set. So what is causing these chains of goals? And nobody set them for me. It's my desire that is being manifested. Whatever goal I set in my life talks more about what desires I hold within. And it comes directly from Pancha Klesha, 5 Kleshas. Asmita, that is I-ness first. This sutra says Asmita or I-ness is to be gotten rid of. Any person who is too attached to the body must be careful here that the attachment with your own body needs to be reduced. I am the body. Otherwise, how does this person feel all the time? I am the body. So not paying attention to smaller things that happen at the level of body and knowing that my body is going to go through these stages. Kaumaram, Yovanam, Jara. It's going to be at its best. I'm going to feel at its best. And in the olden age, I'm also going to carry the same body, the way it is, whatever happens to it. So when we are on the path of Kriya Yoga, first I amness must be understood correctly. I am not the body. Again and again must be remembered by the practitioner of yoga. Here we see, if we go word by word, the meaning of this very sutra, we see samadhi, that is meditative absorption, bhavana, bringing about artha, for the purpose of, klesha, afflictions, tanu, weak, karana, making, artha, for the purpose, and cha. So the Kriya Yoga is for bringing about samadhi and for weakening the afflictions to yoga. In Kriya Yoga, not only at the level of understanding work will be done, but every action needs to be altered. Through action, there is a way to Samadhi. Through action, there is a way to inaction. Only while doing, such a person realizes what needs to be done and what not needs to be done. No matter you share with them at the intellectual level, what is Purusha, what is Prakriti, how you can realize the mantra Om, they will listen to it. But until they do it, it will not be penetrated further deeper into the intellect. So on the path of Kriya Yoga, again and again doing is required. And why is it required? Because Kriya Yoga is going to weaken the kleshas. Which klesh? Asmita, Raga, Dvesh, and Abhinivesh, Avidya, all of these. Avidya, ignorance. We will see that in Sutra number 3. So, the kleshas obstruct the mind from realizing the nature of the true self. What are these kleshas doing? Stopping the mind from realizing its true potential. These kleshas are the reason, again and again, after one thing, I want to do another thing. So, Sage Patanjali says, first this tendency need to be dropped. That with every action, I am putting the burden of my success or failure in life, happiness or sorrow. How long? Can there not be one action where you feel satiated? How long will you keep on setting these goals? And to bring about this awareness, first Kriya Yoga says that my every action will be an offering to God. Whatever I do will be an offering to God. Ishvara Pranidhana is not an option here. Ishvara Pranidhana is mandatory in Kriya Yoga. Surrender is not optional, but surrender is mandatory. So every action that I am doing it as an offering. So what happens? Naturally, every action I do, I want to do it more nicely. So I slow down in that action. Slowing down itself reduces the pace of the mind to start one thing after the other. You slow down, you do it correctly, you give it a closure. Now your focus is more on doing the things correctly, rightly, in its more purest form. From doing many things to doing less things, but at its best form, in the purest of form. So the moment you say, oh, I am doing this for my Acharya, I'm making something for my Acharya, that thought itself tells you I'm going to take some time to do this. And how is my mind going to be? Because I'm doing it in Ishvara Pranidhana, concentrated. So from which Chitta Bhumi I'm moving to which Chitta Bhumi? Can you identify? You're not audible to me. Yes?
Vikshipta to Kshipta?
Vikshipta to Ekagra. Vikshipta to Ekagra. Suddenly what has happened? A small change has happened, that everything I'm doing has now increased in concentration. By a mere thought that I'm offering it in surrender to the divine. If I'm at workplace, imagine people who are marketing and salesperson. They have to speak so many things which may not be true. Yes, and that brings about an ethical pressure on them many times. So until I find a way where my profession and my study both are one, there is no separation of two areas in life, my family life, my professional life, my personal life, everything is in accordance with the Shastras, is the Shastras. Until I reach this stage, what do? Every action that I'm doing, I offer it to God. If I'm in the practice of dance, it's my Bhakti Yoga in that moment. Whatever is the music, does not matter. My each performance will be perfected to the level where it is in Bhakti Bhava as an offering. So with this understanding, in Kriya Yoga, we start moving from Vikshipta to Ekagra. A natural slowdown takes place. In fact, the kleshas become more like burned seeds. Which are these kleshas? First, avidya, ignorance. Some people are not able to be in the practice of yoga because they don't have the correct understanding of yoga. If some people have the correct understanding of yoga, the situations and obstacles are such that they cannot make time to enter this practice. And if some of them can make time to enter this practice, they don't have the correct punya to listen it from a Shastra Parampara, from Guru Shishya tradition. So if we are able to be here, I always say to people, if nothing else, if you are able to come to Rishikesh and by the banks of river Ganges, if you are listening to Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, that itself means you have done a lot of punya in your previous lives. So it is your own good deeds that are fructifying in the spiritual direction that you have now. Not many people are able to be on this path. Therefore, avidya, ignorance. Some people feel, oh, yoga is not for me. Done. There. Imagine the treasure they are losing out on life. The moment they say, yoga is not for me. Without knowing that there can be a means to the practice of yoga without its physicality. The moment they're convinced yoga is not for me, they're deprived of the correct understanding of life itself. So therefore, Sage Patanjali points out avidya, ignorance. This is the disease the entire world is gripped with. Ignorance. And due to this avidya, there is asmita, wrong or false identification of the self. I see. Recently, I was reading a report which talked about sharenting, not parenting, sharenting, a very peculiar term they had, where the child was exposed to a lot of content and content creation right from childhood. And it would have a serious consequence in the future. It was some big agency did the research and everything. So for a child who's been exposed to the media or content creation from a very early age, tell me what would be the sense of I-ness for this child? The sense of I-ness will come from the virtual world only. What they know about themselves will come from the virtual world only. And there may be a strong contradiction between content creation and real life. So this sense of I-ness is sourced from avidya, ignorance. What is true? What is untrue? What is permanent? What is not permanent? Greatest of kings, I say, have been on this land. Greatest of celebrities have been born. Greatest of actors. Who remembers them? And how long will they be remembered? No matter how much they spend on, the paying the publicity and media and everything, but there is impermanence to it. So one must be very careful, understanding that there is a lot of impermanence. So then what happens? They fall into the trap of misidentity. Since there is no recognition of the small part of their life that they are doing, they are unable to settle back as a normal person. So what is all of this? Stemming out of ignorance is avidya. That is, from avidya is asmita. Wrong sense of who I am, dependent on the section of the society. Whichever way I render my services in. Therefore, it is always said when you go to the school in childhood, the teacher must be very good. Because your parents and teachers tell you more about yourself, and in childhood you believe all of it to be true. Therefore, in not the ones that you go to university and graduates, the scholars you listen to. The first teacher, first 10 years, whoever you have been trained under, and your parents tell you and make up your strong sense of I-ness. what are your good and your not good qualities, both. So if they are in ignorance, which is the case with most of us, what happens? Even the child takes those things to be true, and then the cycle continues. So from avidya, asmita or I-ness. Then raga, liking and dislikes. Our likes and dislikes, whenever there is the influx of knowledge, you will see an immediate change in the likes and dislikes. Raga, likes and attachment both go together. Liking something means what? Forming an attachment with the object in the absence of knowledge, there is darkness in this area. Unknowingly, you form so many attachments. And what happens then? When the person is near death, ये जो जाल बिछा रखा है ना, उसको समेटना मुश्किल हो जाता है. Whatever has been widespread attachments, so many, when it's your time of closure of life, it becomes very difficult for you to come back to your body, because the mind is invested in all of those. So therefore we see attachments from first avidya, wrong sense of I-ness. From wrong sense of I-ness comes attachments. Then we will see dvesha. What will be dvesha? Dislikes. Simply the absence of likes or attachment is its dislike. Anything other than what I have formed attachment with is disliking. So for a yogi, this dvesha or aversion or dislike is not there. So yogi, when it's often said in the gurukuls, children are taught the concept of tolerance. Whatever food, they're taught with food first. Whatever food is given on the plate, you like its taste or you dislike it, pray to the food, thank the person who has cooked it, and eat it with a smile. Forcefully, the children are made to eat with a smile. So they're not liking it, but they're still smiling and eating. What happens? It cultivates, it tells their mind as an adult when they grow up, if there is something which they have not liked, they recall this and with a smile they accept it. Therefore, raga and dvesha, cravings and aversions. Things I like and things I don't like. And abhinivesha, clinging to life. What is clinging to life? I must never die. Everything should be permanent. I have created everything my next 5 generations will remember. Nobody will remember. They will not even think about you once. We don't know in the next generation even Shraddha or Punyatithi, death anniversary will be celebrated or not. Nobody remembers. How often do we think of all the things our ancestors have done? Since they have not been discussed, we don't even know what were the deeds of our own grandparents. Therefore, this clinging to life, this fear of death, it's common between us and all the animals. A yogi is separated from other humans and other species by removal of fear of death, which is abhinivesha. Fear of death, thereby leading to clinging to life. Mine. This is mine. For how long? The same house, different people will come and stay. With whatever hard work you have built it with, maybe your next 2 generations will sell it off to somebody else. So this understanding that where am I investing my energy, looking for permanence in very, very temporary life, and knowing that I'm on a very short period. Life itself is a couple of years. Already my past 20, 25, 30 years have gone, and now if I look back, I hardly remember 15 things of the last 30 years. I don't remember each day one by one as it is. It's not possible. And my mind does not have the capacity to store all of it also. So on this short duration, it's time I embark on my spiritual journey. Understand more about my own life and where I have been led to. So, avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. In chapter, the Sutra 3 also, we will discuss them at detail. This particular Sutra says that Kriya Yoga removes avidya. The first one. Thereby changing the I-ness, asmita. It's constantly working, majorly avidya, but strongly asmita also, same time. Both are worked on. When a person is in service, offering to God every action, one realizes how I was doing things. All these years I was taking the burden. I was taking the burden of the fruit of this action. And after I have started doing it in Ishvara Pranidhana, I feel free from the fruit of this action. This lightness is felt at the level of seeker. Whatever I was doing, even the Gita says that you're doing your actions, do not expect its result. Result can be four. Either you get what you want, you don't get what you want, you get less than what you wanted, or you get more than what you wanted. In all the four cases, if you are doing everything in surrender, in Ishvara Pranidhana, as Kriya Yoga, what is happening? You find yourself free from the fruit. And this towards the in surrender, towards one person, where you don't cultivate any doubt, no thought, just doing for the sake of doing. Because I want to do, because it's an offering. And how is it being translated? One, I'm moving from Vikshipta to Ekagra. And second, I have stopped expecting in return. What will you expect? The joy of doing and completing helps you forget about its consequence or its fruit. Thereby, every action you do anymore, you don't think about the consequence. And if you look at the mind, major times, before doing it, you are thinking of the consequence already. So 90% of the time of thinking faculty is wasted in what would be the outcome of so and so and so action. So, like I say, if the action makes your heart feel lighter without a string of thoughts and ends with the action itself, it is the right thing to do. So any action which ends with the action itself without the string of thoughts and makes your heart and mind feel lighter, there is no burden associated with the fruit of that action, is the right thing to do. So thereby this person in Kriya Yoga, whatever action is being done, starts offering it in Ishvara Pranidhana. We will see the difference between Kriya Yoga and Karma Yoga also as we progress. The term has not been open to us yet, and in the Bhagavad Gita we will also not find. Sorry, in the Yoga Sutra we will not come across it much. We will see Karma Yoga. This it's extension of what I'm saying in the Bhagavad Gita as Karma Yoga. What is being discussed here? Kriya Yoga. And why specifically Kriya Yoga? Not just doing in life. You have to come from Vikshipta to Ekagra. So until you reach Ekagra, do this. Because once you reach Ekagra, then I have already, Sage Patanjali has already mentioned what is to be done in chapter 1. So just to elevate the state of mind, to cultivate dispassion, first with one's own body. In sickness or in health, if you do everything as an offering, in surrender, you start to avoid the smaller challenges the body brings. So, asmita, raga, dvesh, abhinivesh, that all of these stem from avidya, are cleared by Kriya Yoga. Tanukaran, weakening of this happens. Weakening of likes and dislikes. Person starts feeling free. Weakening of ignorance. Whatever I did not know, now my mind is filled with all of those newfound knowledge and which make my life more simpler, and my quality of life has also increased. Outcome, the thought faculty has also increased. I-ness, the body, there is no clinging to life, abhinivesh. Whichever day, whatever happens, I am ready to face it as it is. With all happiness. Since I have nothing for myself, I have given off everything that was needed to all the people I liked, I loved, the closed ones, parents, siblings. For everybody, I have played my part in the best way possible without doubting. When there is attachment, sometimes we see people form a lot of attachment, and they, with any object that they like, they want to gain the maximum out of it. Don't try to gain the maximum out of every situation and every person. Don't put that pressure on yourself or that person. Allow them to bring whatever they can to you. And you accept it as Chitta Prasad. Something which you can afford at times. We go to the places where we bargain. It's not required to bargain in that moment. If I want everything to happen in the less money possible, then I must know that whatever I will get in life will also be less as possible. Is it required to be bargaining at some places? We must know. If you feel it's just and you can pay, and the person has said this is the price the person has quoted, you should pay it. Or I'm talking about very small things in life. So if I think of getting in the least possible, life also will bring me things least possible. If I'm more open and more giving, that let me give what I can, in numerous ways life will bestow me with things I have never thought of. So many things will come to me in many ways. So this mind opening, observing our own senses, our own kleshas. What is the difference between vrittis and kleshas? Think about this. Yes. Yes, Sharmaji.
I think vrittis are more modifications of the mind, whereas kleshas are problems that we create for those vrittis to be created. Maybe that also, maybe something like that.
Yes, so we can say kleshas can still be changed, weakened. But when we look at the vrittis, they are more deep, more subtle than the kleshas. Kleshas you can observe easily. But when we talk of vrittis, it takes more time to work. Kleshas can be easily changed. Clinging to life, first, let's stop that. There must be an acceptance. Whichever would be my last day, whichever was my first day, I didn't know which that was, how it was. I was not even aware. Other people were aware of my first day. So whatever would be my time served, in that time, I want to be as free as possible. Everybody who's been kind to me around, I want to give them in abundance, not less, in abundance. If I have knowledge, I give knowledge. If I have love, I give love. I have compassion, I give compassion. In any way that I can serve, I start doing and offering my every action to this consciousness, this Purusha, free, Mukta. So when I'm performing my action, I'm thinking of this liberated one. That itself starts freeing me, taking me towards the state of Samadhi. Samadhi, while doing the slow-paced action, which otherwise one after the other, very fast-paced. Now, while doing the action itself, I forget the time. The state of Ekagrata and Niruddha starts. We will pause here for today. There will be one more class discussion on second and third sutra again. Yes. We'll conclude today's session by chanting Purnamada. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamaya Purnamevashishyate Om Shanti Shanti. Gently bow your head down. Be grateful for this learning. When you're ready, gently lift your head up, open your eyes. Namaskar. Hari Om. We meet again regular time, that is Friday and Saturday.
Hari Om, ma'am.